When will Fight Island actually be in a position where they can host events?
Well, that's happened. See, that's why I'm telling all of my guys not to worry, because Fight Island's going to happen. It's obviously still being, you know, all the infrastructure is being built right now and getting put in place. As we get closer to that, then I'll start figuring out booking fights, getting guys ready. Plus, I can ship guys over there earlier, and they can start training over there on the island. So once that's all in place, you know, you're looking at like a month. A month, I'll have that all put together, and guys can start training and can go there. I'm sure people are going to be ready to get out of their houses in another month and, you know, go to an island somewhere and train. And so that's coming together. It's all going to happen. I could go next week, but you know, this is what it is, and I'll see you in a month.
So I'm out here getting my recovery done at the USCPI, as I'm gonna be out for a minute. And I start hearing these little birdies, pew, 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 saying that Frankie the Answer Edgar wants to come down to my weight class. Frankie, you're 0-5 in your last title fights. What makes you think you coming down to my weight class and be any different? Do me a favor. When you win an MSG, I want you to call me out. 1, because I know you're gold thirsty and you want my belt. 2, I just know you just don't like me. But until then, Frankie, the Answer Edgar, you can do me a favor and you can bend the knee to Triple C too.
First and foremost, I'm an analyst now, I'm a commentator, so I don't want to fight someone that's on a trajectory to a title shot, because I'm not interested in stepping in there and upsetting any kind of rankings and involving myself in those conversations. The people that I've had conversations with and about fighting, obviously Cowboy is top of the, you know, near top of the list because he'd be a great pick. Pettis, I mean, that's something that I've discussed with Felder and he's discussed with Anthony, and that's a fight that we would both like to happen at some point. You know, it's the guys, you know, towards the twilight of their career, the guys that have had a few fights and know their self and have got good experience, not the guys that are on a trajectory to a title, because that just puts me in an awkward situation. I want to be able to step away from the sport and stay as an analyst, because I appreciate this job that I've got right now.
They want to know what you think of Paulo Costa.
I like him. Strong guy. He tries to run you over. He's like a truck. Yeah, I like him. I like the guy. Yeah.
How about ISREAL? I mean, talk about his skill set, and also, I mean, of course, we like to talk about the fantasy matchups. You're at Bellator. He's with the UFC. What do you think a fight between you two would actually look like? How would it play out?
I think I match up very well. You know, it's a stand-up guy. I can fight him stand-up, but obviously he has a good stand-up, good wrestling. When he came, I think I was underestimating him. I thought he will have no wrestling, but actually he impressed me with his takedown defense, in his ground game. I didn't know he was that good. So, yeah, deserving champion.
It's difficult to predict anything in this climate, right? But I think the UFC's next pay-per-view is a month from now. May 9th is UFC 250. That's what it's called, at least right now. And yesterday as well, they were talking about fights on that card. They were talking to some of the athletes there. They were moving some things around. That card was supposed to take place in Brazil. Obviously, they got to remove a lot of the Brazilian fighters and have it in the States. So I think, you know, they're going to take a little break. Dana White told me after that interview, you're not going to see me for a little bit because I put a lot of work into this. Now I got to regroup a little bit. But when they reconvene and they start talking about things, you know, Las Vegas is shut down until April 30th. The White House has told us that the country is shut down and the social distancing measures are in place until April 30th. But if that remains the case and we see a little bit of improvement just in this general situation, like you said, Dana White wants to put on fights, and I would say May 9th, that next pay-per-view it's optimistic, but it's feasible. It's what I would guess right now.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. This is John from Big Dog Rescue. Today, we got my boy here, Dutch. And we're gonna do some simple obedience stuff. Let's go. Yes. Out. Sit. Good boy, you know. Keep it. Go. Down. Set. Good boy. Let's leave it. Leave it. Get it.
I want to ask you about something before we move along to other stuff. I did have a conversation last week, and I'm actually kind of surprised you spoke to me, if I'm being honest, with your good friend Stipe Miocic. This guy doesn't like you, DC. I mean, holy smokes, do things get awkward when I ask him about you? Did you see this interview?
Nope.
He does not entertain. He won't even entertain a question about the next fight and you. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not worried about any of that. Like, it gets really awkward whenever you ask him about the eye. I can understand that. The next fight and you. Doesn't want to entertain any of it.
I think right now he's being a fireman, which is what's way more important. You know, that's way more important right now. That's what he should be worried about. But, you know, he doesn't want to fight me. You know, maybe he doesn't want to talk about it, but I mean, I bashed him upside his head for a good 20 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I wouldn't want to fight me either, you know? Like, what if you can't punch me in the stomach next time? Then what is he going to do? You know, so it would be very difficult to think about fighting, us fighting again whenever, you know, he understands that if I'm healthy and when I'm healthy and, you know, I correct this little bit of a problem I got here, he's going to have a lot of trouble. So,
but do you think it's weird? Like, it's the fight business.
He's doing the right thing, worrying about the virus. I get it. You know, he's a service worker. That's his job in this time, and I applaud that. But when it's time to get back to the fight business, you got to play the fight game, and he doesn't necessarily play the fight game, and that's why for someone so talented, right, and such a phenomenal fighter, he just has not made that connection with the world for people to tune in yet. And it's because he won't play the fight game. Sometimes you got to play the game, and he isn't willing to do it. Because this is a grand opportunity, right? This is the opportunity for him to take a guy, me, that he beat last time, that I beat him before. We're in this great trilogy, right? Like one of the best trilogies in heavyweight history. This is the one to play the game. This is why you play the game. And if he ain't willing to play the game in this one, I don't know what or when he's ever going to be willing to play the game. And at the end of the day, he'll walk away from this thing and you'll have a lot less zeros in your bank account because you didn't make people care. So ultimately, he's only hurting himself.
Is it frustrating for you? I know you said you didn't watch the one last week. Quite frankly, I don't believe you, because what the hell else were you doing? But anyway, is it frustrating?
Games. Yeah.
Like the fact that he just won't engage at all. Like, there's no selling of this.
Well, but I think like right now, honestly, man, like I do believe that he's being genuine in saying that he's just worried about that other stuff, right? Most people are. Like, not everybody's still thinking about the fights, you know, like people aren't all just sitting there thinking about when am I gonna fight next? And especially a guy like Stipe, who's made money, you know, and his money probably goes pretty far living in Ohio. So it's like he can focus on a lot of different things right now, as opposed to worrying about when and what the next fight